Hey, good evening, race fans, and welcome back to another Inside edition of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. I'm Kip Thompson, and welcome back for the 2023 season. If this is the first chance you've had to join us this season, we welcome you, and we are all looking forward to the 2023 racing season. It is fastly approaching, and some of our drivers, some of our teams have already begun the 2023 season. But before we jump into tonight's show, we got to give a couple of shout outs to our sponsors. Number one, we want to thank Raging Rooster Catering out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Tony and Bobby Jackson, huge supporters of racing, dirt track racing, asphalt racing, kart racing. It doesn't matter if it's racing. These guys want to be a part of it. They have an awesome catering business. They'll come to your event for 30 people or more. They have a really big, wide menu. It doesn't matter if it is a wedding, a festival, a social event. It doesn't matter. Give those guys a call, and they'll do you a fabulous job. And anytime you're at the Fayetteville Motor Speedway inside the Carolina Bull Ring, you can go up to the main concourse area and see their food truck up top, and they've got some of the best food around. And make sure when you see those guys or contact them about your event that you tell them the Voice of Victory Lane podcast told you to call them. Also, we want to give a shout out to another sponsor out of Supply, North Carolina, Barrier Fence Supply. These guys do a phenomenal job in the aluminum fencing business. They're a wholesaler and distributor. They have bulk pricing packages available. They do an awesome job up and down the East Coast of North Carolina. That is Barrier Fence Supply, and we'll hear a little bit more about them as tonight's show goes on. Also, want to give a big shout out to all of my friends at Stingray Boat Company down in Hartsville, South Carolina. I'm rocking the new Stars and Stripes edition Stingray Boats hat that I was able to get this weekend at the Raleigh Civic Center Convention Show, the big boat show downtown Raleigh. It was phenomenal, and some of my good friends were there. Kimbrell, Bob V, and that whole entire staff down at Stingray Boat Company in Hartsville, South Carolina. Thank you for tonight's headgear for the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. Let's go into the show south of the border. Let's go down to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, with the hot foot down around the South Carolina area. Tyler Gribb Racing, my good friend Tyler. Hey, man, Happy New Year. Good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Kip. I'm really glad to be back on the show.
Well, it looks like for 2023, as I said in the introduction of the show, there are a lot of people who are waiting to start 2023, man, and you've already jumped in for 2023, already raced 2 times, and still getting a little bit familiar with that Premier Racing chassis, but had a pretty good showing on both nights that you went out and run. Let's talk about that.
Yes, sir. Well, we've been hitting it hot and heavy here. We started the first week of the year. We raced the Sickle Hill Cartway. I ran pretty decent. I believe I qualified 5th, and I drove it up to 3rd. I made a few mistakes. There was a few, accidents or whatever. I had to maneuver through them. We ended up bringing it home 3rd place. And then we went over to Danny Southern Cartway a few weeks later, and I was running the Junior 2 division. That was my last race in the junior class. I believe I started 5th or 4th in that race, in both races, and I drove it up to 4th in the first race. The tires were a little bit harder than we wanted them to, so it caused it to be a little bit looser. And then we made an adjustment for the second race, and then I drove it up to started 2nd, finished 2nd in that race, and that was a really good night for us. And the next week at the Low Country Cartway, I ran the amateur clone division, which was my first week running with the clone motors, which is basically just a plate motor but without a plate and a bigger pipe. We're running with the adults. I started 10th in the first race and 5th in the second. And in the first race, I ended up driving it up to 3rd, but I was battling hard for 3rd or 4th place. And I ended up falling back to 4th, which we would take it. It was the top 5 in my first race in the amateur clone, which was like really good for us, and we're pretty excited about that. And then the second race, I started 5th and finished 5th. But overall, we've started out the year really good, and we're looking forward to improving, hopefully collect some more wins this year.
Well, no doubt about it. And on behalf of all of us here at the Voice of Victory Lane podcast, we wish you and your team, man, the best of luck in 2023. And I want to touch on a couple of things. Let's explain to some of our viewers who don't know karting like they know a regular dirt track. Talk about how important it is and the real connection of what it takes to be competitive when it comes to tires. I know tires is the big part of karting. Explain that so our viewers can understand that.
Well, tires, see, everybody, you take a look and, it's always either motor, it's always chassis, people get that stuff. Motor and chassis does play a huge role in it. But I'm telling you, the tires are the four things that hit the track. Nothing else touches the racetrack. And if those tires aren't right, they're not gonna go anywhere. It's gonna have to be tires are your number one priority. If you're, in kart racing, it's legal to prep tires, and you go to the dirt track like Fayetteville, it's 100% not allowed, and that's one of the biggest differences between us and making sure your stagger's right, making sure your air in your tires is right, making sure your tires are punching, whether you want it to be softer, you can have a tire softened by like a more aggressive prep, or you have different sets in your trailer because say the track's really good and then all of a sudden it falls off, so you're going to need a softer tire. So it's all about being ready for those kinds of situations, those different turns, and just reading the track and making sure your tires are going to be best fit for what the track expects.
Well, it also has been brought to my attention, not only with the tire deal, you've had a little extra help for 2023 in your corner. Some guys out of Holden Beach, North Carolina, JBM Jaden Bowling Motorsports. Those guys are phenomenal. Those guys were very, very at a high level of karting, and now are coming back and giving you a hand. And I know that's got to be super special for you.
It is. It's an absolute blessing to have them be a part of our team. And it's just, I have no loss for words with everything they've done for me. They bring my cart over, and, they go through it, they help me work on it. They teach me some things, teach me how to do tires, they do my tires, it's all kinds of things at the racetrack they've been teaching me how to do. They've been, just giving me a hand with, and I'm at a loss for words. I mean, it's a blessing. It really is a blessing to have them helping me out.
Well, they're great guys. And also, the kind of the straw that stirs the drink, for Tyler Gribb Racing.
Yep.
He was a birthday boy as of yesterday. We got to talk about Grandpa, your grandfather, who is like Mr. Vince. He's a super cool guy. On behalf of Voice of Victory Lane podcast, we may be a day or two late. Hey, happy birthday to the big man behind the scenes of Tyler Gribb Racing. Let's talk about the opportunities that you have, not only the week in and week out, what it means to be able to race like that, have him with you. The wins are great, but man, the memories you guys are making, man, this is stuff that's going to last a lifetime for Tyler Gribb.
Right. Yeah. And every time I'm telling you, he's the biggest supporter. He's the best supporter, biggest supporter I could ever ask for. I could go out on track. I could finish last, start last, finish last, and I'd still come off the track and he'd still have a smile on his face. And he's always, every time, even in practice, he always, gives me a hug. He's like, "Hey, go get him, buddy." He's every time he meets somebody, every time somebody talks to him, they're either laughing or smiling at him, because he always puts a smile on people's face. And I couldn't ask for someone better to be doing it with.
Yeah,
it's
perfect. The times that I've been around him, man, he's such a great guy, such a lovable guy, a likable guy, and a guy who's never met a stranger. And like you say, he does always have a smile on his face. And it's people like that make it fun to go to a racetrack, because, hey, win, lose, or draw, he's Tyler Gribb's biggest race fan. He's the biggest cheerleader. He's the biggest guy in the pits. And, it's just super cool to see that relationship that you guys have. And I really, really enjoy every single time that I get an opportunity to be around him and be around you guys at the racetrack. It's such a fun sport. It's a lot different than what I do on a weekly basis at Fayetteville Motor Speedway or County Line Raceway or Lakeview or Halifax County Speedway. It's just it's a different type deal, man. But it's so fun because you guys just fly around that racetrack, and it's just a lot of fun. So we're going to go to a break here in just a moment. But before we do, I want to mention that Premier chassis. You got the new swag on, and also looks like some grumpy apparel that you got on. Let's talk about the swag on tonight, man. You're looking fresh.
Yes, sir. We got the Grumpy's apparel hat on. They do custom embroidery, and they design T-shirts and stuff. So if you guys have any needs for any T-shirts or hat embroideries, go over to their website, and they'll be glad to help you out. And Premier chassis, probably the best chassis. Well, most definitely the best chassis in the kart racing business. You guys can contact Ken Hodges over at Premier and get yourself on a Premier today. And you know what they say, if you ain't running a Premier, you're chasing one.
Hey, I hear that. You heard it from Tyler Gribb, driver the number 17 out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a real quick break, and we're going to hear from our sponsor, Raging Rooster Catering and Barrier Fence Supply, and we'll be back for the second half of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast with Tyler Gribb. I'm Kip Thompson. We'll be right back. Barrier Fencing Supply is a fencing wholesaler and distributor based out of Supply, North Carolina. Whether you need fencing, fencing products, fencing accessories, or various other construction materials related to your fencing needs, we have the products you are looking for at today's most competitive prices around. Ask us today about bulk pricing packages. Call 910-269-8661. Contact us by email at sales@barrierfencingproducts.com. Barrier Fencing Supply, proud supporter of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. Tonight's show is being brought to you in part by Raging Rooster Catering out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. We cater any event, big or small, groups of 30 people or more, weddings, holiday events, or festivals. Call us today, 910-237-4565. Contact us by email at jackson.bobby@yahoo.com. Follow us on Facebook at Raging Rooster Catering. We invite you to come get you some. Raging Rooster Catering, proud supporter of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. All right, race fans, welcome back to the second half of another Inside edition of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. I'm Kip Thompson. Tonight's very special guest, my good buddy out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It is Tyler Gribb, driver the number 17 Premier Racing chassis. He is a great young man, and we're just super excited every time we can have him on the show. So before I get into my real big subject that I want to talk to you about as we close out tonight's show, Tyler, let's talk about we've already run a couple of races this year, Sickle Hill, Southern Cartway. Possibility of maybe, if things line up, maybe something coming up this weekend, the 11th, if you don't go to Florence to the big race at Florence Motor Speedway. What's some big things some highlights on your schedule for 2023?
Well, some of our biggest highlights, we're still kind of figuring out where we want to run. We're considering running like Triple T, the backyard series this year. That's one series we're definitely, got circled. Or Danny Southern Cartway's point series. Miss France getting the point series started up again. We might go ahead and run there. And the UKS Ultimate Karting Series. We ran there last year. I finished second in UKS points for Junior 3 last year. Hopefully we can come back and maybe get a spot better in semi-pro. But it's all about, kind of playing it by ear. There's a lot of different races we can choose to run from. And we might just take this week off and go hang out at Florence Motor Speedway with some of our friends over there.
Well, I'm sure that's going to be a huge show. That place is going to be packed out. Hopefully, weather permitting. I know around here in the Carolinas where I am, it looks like 80% chance of rain on Friday and like 70% chance of rain on Saturday. But maybe it won't affect you guys down at Timminsville, South Carolina, the Florence Motor Speedway. It will be a great place to watch the race this coming weekend. Hey, and if you're around the racetrack, be on the lookout for Tyler Gribb if he's there. And I'm going to give a plug to the end of that in just a moment. But I want to hit on something. this morning very early, man. I'm up, looking through Facebook and everything. And, I follow your page, Tyler Gribb Racing,
Yeah.
and weekly basis, daily basis. And it was so cool. And on behalf of Tyler Gribb Racing, we want to take an opportunity to all of our fans and friends and family, to all of those who saw the post this morning on your Facebook page. Man, that was such a cool tribute that you did. For your fans and your family and your friends, man. All those people rocking that Tyler Gribb Racing swag, those new snapback hats, those are super, super cool. I've even got one of those. My wife stole it from me. She wears it all the time because she's a big TGR fan. She loves Tyler Gribb. That's a really cool way to keep your name out in front of people, Tyler. And I just love the way, you brought it upon yourself to do that collage, man, of all those photos and all those fans and all those people that support you and cheer for you on a weekly basis at a racetrack. That was super cool, man. What an awesome post you guys did. It was awesome.
Yes, sir. We're definitely thankful for everybody. It makes the wheels turn on our go-kart, everybody that supports us. It's unbelievable with everybody that supports me. I mean, you have Arkham Menards Series co-owner Mike Cheek on there. He owns Grumpy's Apparel, and he works with Empire Racing, and he's pictured wearing a hat. All of my family, all of some people I've never personally met before wearing my hats. I look forward to meeting them one day, and it's a blessing to have so many people supporting me and following me, and I'd like to thank everybody for giving me all this support, and it's truly amazing. I love all the support, and I look forward to seeing all of you guys at the racetrack this year.
It's a super cool deal, man. I can tell you, to see all of those people who probably maybe a little bit less than a year ago, probably a lot on the social media side. A lot of people on Facebook didn't even know who Tyler Gribb was. You know what I'm saying? And now you got people who you don't even know, man, that's wearing your hat and they're liking stuff on your Facebook page. And I'm looking and I see all these people who like this and wishing you good luck every week that you race. And it's just such a cool deal how your name in the karting industry is starting to grow, man, more and more every month. And I think it's kind of a tribute to you for what you put into the sport, how you carry yourself, and your attitude both on and off the racetrack. I know, man, when things get bad, you get frustrated, but you don't wear your emotions on your sleeve, and that's one of the things that I love about you and your family and how your racing career has started off. Man, you're getting from the ground up, man. You're doing the right things. Just be Tyler Gribb, and the wins are going to come. I promise you. So while we're talking about all of the people who were in this huge collage, everybody's buying these Tyler Gribb racing hats as fast as they can get their hands on them. What I was about to get into was, if you happen to see Tyler Gribb in Florence, South Carolina, you could be one of the lucky 6 people available. They've only got 6 hats left. This is what they look like. Show them off, Tyler. Show everybody so they can see them.
Here's the hat. It's pretty simple, but it looks really good. Got the dark gray in the back, the black in the front, then you got the white logo on the front. We have 6 left, and if we do happen to go to Florence, we will bring them with if any of you would like a hat. If you're watching right now and you're not going to be at Florence, just shoot me a message on Facebook. My name's Tyler Gribb, GRYB. Go ahead and shoot me a message, and we'll get you a hat.
And also, for those who follow your Facebook page, Tyler Gribb Racing, they could also, I guess, send you guys like a private message, and you guys could work it that way as well.
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right, man. Well, cool deal. Hope you have a great weekend this weekend, wherever you go. And before we jump off, let's give a shout out to those guys who sponsor you. I see their names all the time on your Facebook page, but I'm going to go ahead and let you roll them off real quick.
First of all, I would like to thank Jaden Bowling Motorsports. They help us week in, week out with the go-kart and just all kinds of support, running their motor. Big thanks to them. Voice of Victory Lane, UKIP, you support me all the time. I really appreciate everything you do for me. Wayne Gray Landscaping, he supports me all the time. Grumpy's Apparel right here. If you guys need any embroidery or any shirt designing, go ahead, hit them up. Chick-fil-A Seaboard Commons, they're huge supporter of me. And also, last but not least, can't thank my mom and my grandfather and my family enough for always, always supporting me and always being out there, being my number one fans.
All right, folks, that is Tyler Gribb, driver number 17, Premier Chassis out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He's our special guest tonight here on the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. Tyler, man, thank you so much for taking time to join us tonight. And, man, we wish you all the best of luck in 2023.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that's going to wrap up tonight's podcast on the Voice of Victory Lane. I'm Kip Thompson. Thank you to our sponsors, Raging Rooster Catering out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Be sure to look them up on Facebook where you'll find their telephone number and you'll find their email address so you can contact them. And also Barrier Fencing Supply out of Supply, North Carolina, huge supporter of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. We'd like to thank them as well. And also one more shout out before we leave, all of our good friends at Stingray Boat Company providing tonight's headgear for the Master of Ceremonies here. We appreciate that. Stingray Boat Company out of Hartsville, South Carolina. Thank you for supporting the Voice of Victory Lane podcast tonight. Be sure to follow us on Facebook. Give us a like and share, subscribe. Go to our Facebook page, Voice of Victory Lane. Everyone have a great rest of the week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at our racetrack very soon. Good night, everybody.